Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Sky. Hello. So today I am going to show you 10 ways in which you can turn your makeup from drab to fab. So I'm going to cover things from product use, the types of products you're using, technique, lots of stuff today. Lots of good stuff today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be doing this side of my face drab, so all the techniques and products are ways to use your products that aren't doing you any favours, and then this side of my face I'm going to show you how to improve on that. So this will be the fab side of the face, this will be the drab side of the face. I will say this till the cows come home. This is probably the most important thing in a makeup routine. Prep your skin. It's as simple as that. Prepping your skin not only keeps your skin healthy underneath your makeup, also helps the makeup that you put on top look nicer, blend nicer, look more skin-like. This poor side of my face is not getting any prep. I washed my face before this and I only washed this side of my face. The first step would always be to wash your face. Now, when I mean wash, I don't mean take a face wipe to it. I don't mean scrub it with a St. Ives exfoliator. I mean use a face wash. Use it. Just use it. And it literally takes you all of 2 minutes. That's it. That's 3 basics that I would always stick to would be cleanse, tone and moisturise. So before I apply makeup, I also like to go in with a bit of eye cream just underneath my eyes because it just helps your concealer to sit nicer and it's not going to sink into those fine lines. So now that I've prepped, I'm going to prime. I'm just going to break it down for you. If you have dry skin, use a hydrating primer. If you have normal skin, you can pretty much use anything. It kind of just depends on how you're feeling. If I had normal skin, I would go for something that was glowy. So I'd go for like an illuminating primer. If you have oily skin, go for a mattifying primer. And if you have oily skin like me and you have large pores, go for a pore filling or pore blurring primer. Just taking the Hydra matte primer first. You don't need a lot, and just applying it over this side of my face. And then I'm taking my pore filling primer and applying that. Now I have a pore smoothing pore filling primer. Press it into your skin. Okay, so the first kind of tip is for foundation. The most important place to start is choose a foundation that works for you. Personally for me, I don't like heavy foundations. I'm not, like, I have freckles and I have rosy cheeks, and you know what? See if they come through my makeup, I'm absolutely fine with that. The most time I go for a medium coverage foundation. Choose a foundation that matches your skin tone. It's not difficult. You also have to think about the undertones. Is it pink? Is it neutral? Is it yellow? If your veins under your skin look blue purple, you're more of a pink undertone, so you'd be cool toned. If your veins appear more green, then you'd be more yellow or warm toned, okay? If you have a mix, you're neutral, okay? And if you're completely confused by all this, I do apologise. If you go to www.findation.com, if you don't know what undertone you are, it also has an option for you to find it. So for the fab side of my face, this side right here, I am going to be using the shade 1D/1W, which is Golden Ivory. Okay, so then for this side of my face, that's just going to take a battering today. I'm going to use the L'Oreal True Match Foundation in the shade 3N Creamy Beige. When you're applying your foundation, I always like to put it in the back of my hand and then dot it on, because then it means you're getting an even distribution of your product. Okay, so then I just take a damp beauty blender and just bounce it in. Super easy. Okay, so now I'm going to go on this side. I don't want to do this. Oh no. And I'm just going to blend that out and see. Also see, because I've not prepped my skin, all my pores are just sitting there chilling. Next up is concealer. Concealer should only be 1 to 2 shades lighter than your foundation. When you're applying concealer, I would always say apply under here and then apply a wee tiny bit at the side of your face, just like that. Blend it in using your beauty blender again. Concealer was only like one shade lighter than my foundation for this side. The biggest thing about concealer is putting too much of it on. So what I'm going to do with this one, oh yeah. So this is what I see all the time. This is probably about 6 shades too light. So I'm going to blend it in. This is going to put me in a bad mood, this. So I'm going to go in quickly, powder my face, and I'll be right back. I also brushed this eyebrow up using some soap. On to brows, which is the part that is going to kill me. So I'm going to use a brow pomade, which just looks like this. I'm going to use this because I feel like this is what most people use nowadays. So for your brows, what not to do is to make them blocky. I've done this before, okay? Many a time I did my brows like this, however, I now don't. So please learn from my mistakes. What not to do is this. How do people even do this? Yep. Oh, look at that. This hurts my makeup so. This genuinely hurts me. Please don't do this. What I did there was took loads of product and went straight at the front of my brow and just drew a straight line and then just filled it in. So as you can see, I've put loads of it out in my hand. Put it on your hand, warm it up, makes it so much easier to apply. Take it on an angled brush. Start at the arch of your brow. The arch of the brow is where your brow hairs would be thickest, where you should see the most definition. So start there. Do not start in the front of your brow. So what I like to do is take this and do tiny, tiny wee strokes. Literally, the smaller the better. Like, it's hardly coming into contact with my skin. Take it and run it right underneath along the bottom of your hairs in a straight wee line and then feather it up. The start of your brow should not be the same density as the end of your brow. I'm going to talk about 2 things that I see people doing all the time that really hinder the performance of their eyeshadow. So the first one is not priming your eyelids. Priming your eyelids before you put your eyeshadow on is going to make your eyeshadows more pigmented. It's going to make them easier to blend, and it also means they're going to last longer. Second thing that I see people doing all the time, and it annoys me so much, is not using your eye space to its full capacity. So obviously, because this is the drab side, I am not priming my eyes on this side today. This is the Zoeva Cocoa Blend eyeshadow palette, and you know what, it's the nicest wee palette. If you're a beginner, this is perfect. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take this shade, which is like my transition today. I'm literally just going to apply this into the crease. So then next up, I'm going to go in with a slightly darker shade, this one here. I'm going to put that even deeper into my crease. And I'm going to take this one here, this kind of gold shade, and I'm just going to apply this on my lid. There we go. Pat it on. Finally, I'm going to take the lightest shade here. I'm going to apply this underneath my brow bone. So you probably noticed when I was doing this eye and I was using this brush, I was holding it right down here and I was like, I might as well have been searching for diamond underneath my eyelids. And when you're holding your eyeshadow brushes, instead of holding them here, hold them here. This gives you flexibility. Okay, and that is what makes it so much easier to blend eyeshadows. So I'm dipping straight back into that first transition shade very lightly, holding it down at the bottom, and instead of going into my crease, I'm going above my crease on this side. So very lightly applying it above my crease. I actually applied primer on this eye off camera. I'm going to go into that darker colour, the darkest colour that we used on this eye, and I'm going to put this into my crease and also slightly above, but I'm going to start in my crease and blend up. So circular motions, because that is the easiest way to blend. I'm then going to go back into that shimmer shade, that nice gold, and I'm going to pat this onto my lid. But I'm also going to take it above my lid, because this will just make your eyes look much bigger. Touches for this eye, I'm just going back into that very light shade and putting it underneath my brow bone. I'm going to go ahead and curl my lashes, apply some mascara and a wee pair of falsies, and I'll be right back. So now we're going to move on to the rest of the face makeup. So I'm going to do bronzer first. So this is something that has came to my attention a lot more recently that I notice. And it's people that contour with bronzer. Newsflash, they are not the same thing. We use bronzer to bring warmth to our face and a tiny bit of definition so that you don't look flat, okay? Contour we use to chisel and to shape your face and to get those cheekbones and the jawline and the nose that you have always wanted. That's what I see people doing with their bronzer. And I'm not exaggerating. Take bronzer on an angle brush and they go like this. So that is what I see people doing so much more often nowadays, and it just looks ridiculous because you get your white concealer and your like Snicker bar on your cheek, and then just... So to properly apply your bronzer, take either a big fluffy brush or a flat top brush like this, okay? Dip your brush in, tap the excess off and stamp it. Now, you aim your bronzer for the highest points of your face. So think of it kind of as like a 3 when you're bronzing. Okay? And also, take a bit of bronzer over your nose because it just makes all the difference and it ties everything in. Palette that has your highlight and contour palettes in. You can kind of see these ones here are warm toned. They look more like the eyeshadows we used before. These ones are well loved, but they're also more on the cool tone side. They look more grey. That is the shade that you want to use to contour with, okay? But as soon as you start putting this over where you've harshly applied your bronzer, and you apply this in a big Snickers bar line, you start to look even muddier. You can take an angle brush for your contour, dip it in, tap it off. I start at the back of my face and I start at the top of my ear, here, and you're aiming kind of for your chin, the back of your cheeks, and bring it forward. You should go no further than your pupil, like the midpoint of your eye. Okay, so next is blush. Taking a nice peachy pink. I'm going to smile and apply it to the apples of my cheeks here. So for this side of my face, I'm applying it to the tops of my cheekbones and the tiniest amount over the apples of my cheeks. So right up at the top to really lift my face and just bring a wee bit more shape to it. And so you can see there, I still look like I've got blush on this side of my face, but it's just in a different position and it changes your face shape. So highlighter is kind of like finishing touches. I honestly do think this is what brings your face to life. And there's a lot of ways that this can go wrong. So I'm just going to say this now. If you have a highlighter that is this colour and your foundation is this colour, do not use these two together. Just don't. Obviously, it's white. It has like a gold reflect to it, but its base colour is white. So once you apply this onto your face, it's just going to look like a big grey streak. And I'm applying it at the tops of my cheekbones. Oh my god. As you can see, it's really like a vibrant highlighter. But it's just, it looks grey. So this is a lot more golden. I personally just prefer this. If you're on the cooler side, go for a peach or like a pinky. I'm just going to take it in the same place, just over the tops of my cheekbones. Okay, so my last tip for highlighter is when it comes to the nose. What I see people doing so often is just taking the highlighter and just going like this across the tip of your nose, right? And that is going to make your nose look bigger. Instead, you've probably seen me doing this in my other videos. I take a flat brush, I take a tiny bit down the bridge of my nose, and I rub it in with my finger to make it look a bit more natural. It's like, kind of think you're drawing like an exclamation point, but instead of a dot at the end, it's a line. I'm actually going to try and like highlight only half of my nose here. So there you can kind of see the difference of how you apply your powder products makes to your face. This side looks so much more lifted and sculpted and a lot more blended, and this side just looks like a hot mess. It looks mucky. If this is cohesive, this is higgledy-piggledy. So finally for the face, I would always recommend using a setting spray. It's just going to keep your makeup on that much longer, and it melts the product into your skin to make it look less cakey and less powdery, especially if you're using a lot of powders. I'm going to try and do this on one side of my face, just this side. Another wee tip that you could use for your setting spray is to spray your sponge with the setting spray, just lightly, and then use that and press it into your skin. Lip liner, I would say, is probably one of the best steps to include in your makeup routine. This is what not to do. Okay, so I'm just using like a brown. And I'm making the line really harsh. So as you can see, I've made the line really harsh, but I've not blended it in. So on this side, what I'm going to do is lightly line them in and blend it in as well, slightly. If you're struggling with lip liner, your pinky is your best friend. Place it on your chin. Use it as like an anchor point to help move the lip liner. Once I kind of get a general outline, I'm just going to go in and blend it slightly at the edges. And by blend, I literally mean just colour it in lightly, closest to the edges. You can even take your finger and just use that to blend it in. Okay, so next I'm going to go in with a nude lipstick. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so finally I'm going to go in with a gloss. It's just like kind of light nude one. And I'm just going to apply that all over. There you have it, guys. That is the DRAB to FAB makeup steps. So I think the key things to take away are preparation is key. Prep your skin. It will help you in the long run. Be aware of the space that you're using for your product placement, whether it's on your eyes or your cheeks. And be wary of your technique, because for this I used pretty much majority of the same products on either side of my face. It was just the technique that changed. At the end of the day, we all have to start somewhere. I am guilty of making many of these mistakes, probably all of them, to be honest. Maybe not the foundation. Makeup is a learning curve. You're never gonna sit down and apply your makeup perfect the first time ever and then that's you. It's not. It took me a long time to get to this. The best thing to do is just sit down and have a play and experiment with your placement of your products and your techniques. That's the only way we learn. You have a product and you think it's not working, it's not looking the way I want it to, try a different technique, because that might be the difference between this slug and this lovely feathery eyebrow. That might be what it is. And I used is down below, as well as all of my social medias. If you can please make sure that you go and follow me on those, and give my posts a wee like and a wee share. If you want to see me do more tips and tricks videos, then please let me know down below, especially if you thought this was helpful. I tried to put as much information in. I am going to do an eyeshadow 101 because I feel like that is what I always hear people struggling with the most. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. Leave me a wee comment just saying what you'd like to see next. As always, I hope you have enjoyed and I will see you all in the next video. Bye! I'm gonna come across so shady in this. This is bad. No. Okay. Ugh. Eyebrows, man. That's just a joke. Oh, it's raining and the washing's out. Oh no. That's not good. I actually look like an Oompa Loompa.